Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tanel, and today, I wanted to do a small overclocking video for you guys. So I'm gonna try and teach you how to overclock your Coffee Lake CPU to 5 GHz or so. I've done all kinds of overclocking in the past. LN2, Dry Ice, Vapo, or Vapor, how do you say it? I've done pretty much all that you can think of. And today I'm gonna use this motherboard from Asus, their tough lineup, which has some really premium quality stuff on it, but also is one of the cheapest Z370 boards out there. So we're gonna try and see if we get 5 GHz on my 8600K, and I recently did a review on this board, so check that out also. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I have CPUs already up and running on my PC here, and it's at 5 GHz. So we're gonna get to 5 GHz. Yeah, of course, Asus has some other boards like the Prime Z370A, and I do have the Z370F, the Strix version, which looks absolutely stunning, but you know, is 100 euros or so more expensive than the tough Z370 Pro. And I do have the E version also, and it's like the F version, but you know, the heat shield, all the design has a silver tone to it. Anyway, talked a little bit too much maybe here, but anyway, I have my system set up all here, as you can see, and let's go and start fiddling with things, and later then let's check out what the auto overclocking feature or program or application can do. So before we begin with our overclocking adventure here today with the Coffee Lake CPU and the TUF lineup motherboard from Asus, there's a couple of cool little applications that I really want to show you guys. So I have everything running here. I have my Windows 10 running here on my big ass 75-inch screen, and I'm gonna try and show you the applications that I think are really essential for overclocking. So first of all, let's open up this program called CPU Z. So this is the first application that I really highly recommend getting. This will show you all the information about your CPU. So the name of your CPU, the voltage of your core, and the core speed in real time. Of course, we see the cores and the threads, and there's some other useful information also here, like info from the motherboard, what exact BIOS are we running. So we're running the 0505 BIOS. I did the BIOS update today, I think. I'm gonna show you how to update your BIOS with a Asus motherboard over the internet in a second. But there's also info about memory, SPD, and some minor details about your graphics card also. Now, there is a program called GPU Z, which shows a lot more information about the video card and the video card's temperatures also. So that's really useful if you're doing some 3D overclocking, if you're overclocking your video card. But as we're gonna focus on the CPU side of overclocking today, I'm not really gonna show you GPUs today, but maybe in another video. Let's see, maybe with Volta or something like that. But anyway, let's leave this here and let's open up the next essential application, which is Core Temp. And this thing here shows the exact temperatures of your CPU. So at the moment we can see in real time that our all our 6 cores are running at about 33 to 34 degrees Celsius, which is a really nice temperature. Also in the last tabs here we can see the min, max and the load percentage here. So minimum temperatures, the maximum temperatures and the load. So when we're gonna launch the next application, we can actually see if there's any problems with our overclocking. Are our cores all at 100%, or have some failed, so we need to go and tinker around in the BIOS to get everything stable. So Prime 95 is the next application here on my list, and when opening up, this is the first screen that you will see. Run a torture test. So this is a really good, I think hands down should be the best CPU torture test out there. And we can use a blend test, which tests some of everything, lots of RAM tested, so it will do some pretty pretty nice testing for your CPU and the RAM to see if your system is stable or you need to tinker around with some voltages. And we have other tests also here in place, large FFTs or small FFTs, which is really heavy on the CPU side. So yeah, I like to run blend test here, and I'm gonna recommend you guys doing the same. So run the blend test for 30 minutes to 1 hour to see if your PC is stable. And also another note here, if you hit OK here and open up core, then also, and of course CPUs will show us that we're running at 3800 megahertz at the moment, and we can see that our 34 degrees Celsius temperatures have risen to about 50 degrees Celsius. So we can actually monitor our temperatures here, and we can see that each core is at 100% load. So at the moment, if we test it around 30 minutes to 1 hour, we will get, one thing is that we know that our CPU is stable. The second thing is, how high are the temperatures? Should you, up your cooling system, buy a better cooling solution, or maybe, turn down the voltages or the frequency to get a little bit lower load temperatures. So a really nice test here. And yeah, definitely run it at least 30 minutes, but I recommend running it 1 hour. Some people even run it 24 hours. I think that's a little bit of an overkill, but 1 hour is usually really okay. It'll show you if your CPU is, load stable or not. So let's stop all the workers at the moment here, and yeah, close. Let's leave these actually open here and open another program. So the next program is 3D Mark. So 3D Mark is a really good benchmarking program. Now you can test your PC stability with pretty much any application, but 3D Mark is, the most well known. And I've been running 3D Mark from 3D Mark 99 or something like that. So I went way back. I started my overclocking adventures. And yeah, 3D Mark 99, 2000, 2001 and stuff like that. But anyway, today we're gonna go to benchmarks here, and we're gonna choose a Firestrike setting here, and we're gonna run through Firestrike here, and we're gonna leave CPUs open here and the core temp to see how high our temperatures are gonna go here. We can actually close this for a second, open it again, so the max temperatures will reset here. And after the test has run through all the tests, we can see how high the CPU temperatures actually went. We can do the same for the video card if we have GPUs opened. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna run this through to get a benchmarking score of our default system, which is a run through the test at 3.6 gigahertz, and the turbo clock will go to about 4.3 gigahertz, but it'll vary. It will give the turbo when it needs. So yeah, when we're gonna go to the BIOS later on, we're gonna hit the 5 gigahertz speed at all times. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a little bit higher score than what we're gonna see in a second here. But let's run this benchmark through. It'll give us a nice starting score, so you know where you started your adventure, I guess. Or any other benchmark like Assassin's Creed Origins or Grand Theft Auto 5, whatever your benchmarking test is, run it through at default settings first. And after you apply your overclocking, you can run the same test again and see how much that actually, influenced your PC. How much of gains did you actually get? So is it worth the overclocking? Is it worth overclocking your CPU or your GPU? So anyway, let's hit run here and let's check it out. And I'm gonna leave Shadowplay opened here, which is gonna record everything. It might hinder the score like 100 points or so, but it's not really gonna matter in the long run. So when we overclock our CPU, I'm still gonna use Shadowplay to record the screen here. So yeah, that should be good. benchmark finished now, and we received 20,880 points. So that's gonna be our benchmark here for our stock score. So now what's next is we're gonna do a quick little restart, and we're gonna go into the actual BIOS of the motherboard, and we're gonna manually overclock the CPU to 5 GHz. So let's check it out and see how difficult it really is. Alright, so my PC is restarting right now, so let's start hitting the delete button here until we get into the BIOS. And voila! This is the DUF Z370 Pro's BIOS, and the first thing that we see here is all, you know, basic stuff pretty much. We can use the mouse to move around here, and we can select under here advanced mode, or just hit F7 as it states there, which brings us to the advanced mode. And let's use the arrow key to go to the AI tweaker. Of course we can use the mouse also, but let's use the keyboard at the moment here. And yeah, we can see that the target CPU turbo mode frequency is 4300 MHz already, which is the Core i5-8600K's default turbo frequency. So the stock frequency is 3600 MHz, but it can go up to 4.3 GHz with the turbo clock. But anyway, let's select the first setting here, the AI overclock tuner, which is auto at the moment, and let's select XMP at the moment and hit yes. And what that does is it automatically puts the right settings for your memory. It gets the information from the memory, and it sets your memory also to the frequency that you actually have your memory. So for my memory here, I have the G-Skill Trident C RGB 3200 MHz, and I can see XMP is DDR4 3200 MHz. Yes, that's pretty much the only option here. So let's move a little bit down here, and let's come to this section here. So AVX instruction core ratio, negative offset, CPU core ratio, and core ratio limit. So what you want to do here is select CPU core ratio and select sync all cores. So all of our cores are going to be at the rate that we're going to set. So we're going to set it to 50, which means 10 times 50 is 5000. So that means 5 GHz overclock. And for AVX instruction core ratio negative offset, I really recommend putting this to 2 or 3. But try to start from 0, but I know that my CPU won't do it at 0. So I'm gonna hit 3 here. So what that does is it's gonna lower the frequency by 3 multipliers. So anything that uses AVX instruction is gonna use 4700 MHz. So that's basically your typical Windows programs and stuff like that, which nowadays are more coming into the AVX instruction, though before it was all SSE. I think the games also are all SSE, I think so. But games do not use AVX instruction core ratio, so that's why we're gonna put that a little bit lower. So if it would be 0 here and our Windows will crash, that actually won't mean that our games would crash at 5 GHz. All our games are still gonna be at 5 GHz, but those programs that use the AVX instruction use a little bit lower frequency. We're never gonna see the difference anyway. Even at 4 GHz, I think it's enough. You won't notice the difference from 4 to 5 GHz when using AVX programs. I think should be like that. So you know, setting the offset by 3, the multiplier to 47, it's not gonna hurt us at all, and it's not gonna take the gaming performance down to 47 multiplier. All our games are gonna run at 50 multiplier, meaning at 5 GHz. So let's move on to the next few settings here. So the next few settings are gonna be at the Digi plus VRM menu. Let's open this up here, and two things are very important here: CPU current capability and CPU load line calibration. Now, CPU current capability, put it as high as possible, 140% here. Some motherboards can do 200%. I think it was X299 or something like that. But yeah, what that means is the motherboard has extra power. The motherboard can drain extra power for your CPU, so it can get 40% more power than usually. So just use it at 140% if you're doing any overclocking at all. It's definitely gonna help. And CPU load line calibration, I tend to set it in the middle ground and then tinker around with it. So let's leave it at level 3 at the moment. So how do I explain this in a quick few words? Whenever you launch a program or a game, your CPU voltage that you set in the BIOS will actually fluctuate and go into really negative and really high positives. So if you set your CPU voltage to, let's say, like 1.3 volts, for a tiny millisecond, your voltage will go down to 1.1 maybe. And at some point when you're, I think, ending the testing, it will fluctuate upwards and will go maybe to 1.45 volts, but only for a millisecond. But that's enough time to make your system unstable and crash your system. So what this CPU load line calibration does is brings those peaks down, and you won't get that really high peaks. So that really stabilizes your CPU performance and CPU voltage performance. Hopefully I made it a little bit clearer to you. But anyway, CPU load line calibration, pretty important stuff. So let's go back here and let's go a little bit more down, and there's a lot more stuff to tinker around here to get to really fine tune the stuff. But I'm gonna show you just the main things that really benefit the CPU a lot. So the next thing is gonna be the CPU core cache voltage, and it's auto at the moment. Let's hit enter and let's put manual mode, and let's select our CPU voltage, or set our CPU voltage. The default voltage should be 1.225 or something like that. At the moment it shows 1.216, but with water cooling and with air cooling, I wouldn't recommend going any higher than let's say 1.3 or 1.35 volts. So anything under 1.3 volts is really good. So let's set 1.29 here. So 1.290 volts should be pretty good, and I'm pretty sure my CPU can handle it. Now, if your Prime 95 test with this voltage, with these settings, is stable, try lowering it. Lower it by like to 1.280, and if that's stable, 1.270, and go about like that. And the same goes for upping your voltage. So go in small increments, or how do you say it? Anyway, that's kinda it for the overclocking in the BIOS itself here. Another quick little awesome feature for Asus's motherboards here is the overclocking profile. If you open this up, we can load and save profiles. So if you go here, you can already see my 5 GHz overclocking settings here, but you can also save your default settings here. So when you have a problem and you need to take the battery out, or clear your CMOS to get your PC to boot again. So if you do low voltages or maybe do high voltages, your PC might not boot. You might not get a picture on your PC. So you need to reset your PC, do the clear CMOS jumper thing, and when you do that, all your settings will be at the most default settings possible. So might be worth to set all your settings, disable some USBs or stuff like that you don't need, and make everything as stock as possible in terms of frequency, but customize all your SATA settings and stuff like that, and then save the profile here somewhere and write the profile name what you want, stock frequency, and save it to your profile. So that's a really neat feature, and later on if you have issues you can just load it quickly. You don't have to set everything all up again. And the same goes for our 5 GHz overclocking. So right now, if our boot is normal, we're gonna go in the BIOS and save the 5 GHz option there. And the last thing that I really wanna mention here is the Asus Easy Flash 3 utility. which pretty much automatically updates your system BIOS by just choosing internet here and hooking your internet cable into the LAN board. And it does everything automatically. You don't need to go on the Asus's website to download the drivers or download the BIOS file, put it on a USB stick, put some boot up stuff on the disk, and then try to boot the USB stick, and all that is thing of the past. This is a really cool feature. Yeah, you can easily update your BIOS. So at the moment, I think I tinkered enough here, so save changes and reset, or hit the F10 key. And Asus also shows us what exactly we actually did at the moment, so we can maybe do a quick screenshot with our phone or something like that. And let's select OK, and our PC might shut down for a couple of seconds here, boot up again, maybe shut down again and boot up again, but it should set all the settings that we set in the BIOS, and we should be able to boot into Windows, and there you go. So this is the first logo, and next up we should see the Windows scrolling logo. Now if you have any issues, blue screen of death or hanging or something like that, your PC freezes here or something like that, typically what it means is, one, your temperature is too high, but most of all, your voltage is too low. So up the voltage a little bit, the CPU core voltage, and try again. So now that we've made it back to Windows, it's time to open up CPU Z and check out if our overclock actually worked and it's on. And yeah, we can see 5000 megahertz here, even a little bit more here. And let's open up core temp also here. And yeah, check out the temperatures if there's something really weird going on here, but not really. But we do see like 5 to 6 degree rise in temperatures even in idle when we're doing nothing. So yeah, that's that. Now the next thing would be to open up Prime 95 here and start doing the blend test and checking the temperatures as well. We already hit 60 degrees instantly pretty much, and we can see the core speed is actually 4700 megahertz. And do you know why that is? It's because of the AVX offset that we set to 3, which means it's running 3 multipliers lower than our actual gaming multiplier. So 4700 megahertz, meaning 47 times multiplier, thanks to Prime 95 being AVX RAM. And nothing to worry about here, because games don't use AVX instruction set. So only Prime 95 is gonna be at 4700 megahertz here. But it's definitely, good to also test out the 5 gigahertz setting in Prime 95. But I'm gonna leave it here at the moment. And let's stop this here. And I'm gonna open up 3D Mark. We're gonna run 3D Mark through. If it passes, everything should be pretty fine. Now, the one question is for me at the moment. One question lingers. If I run Prime 95 and it runs it at 4700 megahertz, oh god, is 5 gigahertz then gonna be totally fine in games? I think it should be. I need to look this maybe up a little bit. But anyway, let's open up 3D Mark and let's run it through and see what are our results now with the overclocked CPU. So our benchmarking concluded here. 22,825 points now with the 5 gigahertz overclock here. And yeah, that's pretty much it from my overclocking tutorial video here. So we started with our stock clock of 3.6 GHz and finished with 5000 MHz. And yeah, boosted our score by about 2000 points, which is not bad in terms of 3D Mark here. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the manual overclocking bit. Now, there are some people out there that really don't wanna fuss about in the BIOS and really do any manual overclocking. So for you guys, I do have something more to show you. So let's close this 3D Mark test here. Let's close this core temp, the CPUs, and I do have running testing here. So this is Asus's AI Suite 3, and I'm gonna open it up from here, and it brings me straight to this Dual Intelligent Processors 5 application, which we can find from here. And from here we can do some auto overclocking, and yeah, if you ask me, I was really impressed by how well this actually works. Now, there are some people out there that say that the auto overclocking puts a little bit too much of voltage to the CPU, but we can actually adjust the voltage that is set here, but maybe also it'll, you know, automatically overclock some voltages a little bit too high that we can't set here. But you know, for those people who don't really want to overclock manually or don't know how to overclock manually, even though that I just explained like 30 minutes how to manually overclock, then yeah, 5-way optimization is a pretty nifty tool here. So let's open this up here, and yeah, the first thing that we see is TPU. Fast tuning, extreme tuning. We're gonna select extreme tuning, DP1, DP2. Let's select all cores from here. We can select all kinds of things here. Stress test distribution. So does it stress also the memory? Kind of like Prime 95 as you did with the blend test here. But let's just keep it with CPU here right now. And we can select how long the stress test actually lasts. And yeah, we can select the CPU ratio stability, also normal performance, aggressive encoding stability, but just leave it at normal. There's also an option for enable CPU advanced vector or AVX instruction set during stress test. I guess it'll automatically set the AVX also then, but let's just leave it off here at the moment. And this is the most interesting part here. Target CPU voltage tuning, target CPU frequency tuning, and target CPU temperature tuning. So we can actually set how much of CPU voltage does the auto overclocking utility here actually take, or how far does it take the voltage or the CPU core voltage. And we can set the limit. So if you don't want it to go over 1.3 volts, we can set it like that here. Or if the main thing is that we just want 5 GHz, we don't care about the voltage, we don't care about the temperature, we're just gonna set, we want 5 GHz from our PC, and it'll try to get that 5 GHz. But if you don't get 5 GHz, one, your CPU might not be good enough, or two, your cooling might not be good enough, or some other weird issue you might have there. Or the auto overclocking program has maybe some issues, you never know. But you can also, you know, select it, you can also, you know, but I don't want my voltage going beyond, you know, 1.3 volts. I do want 5 GHz, but I don't want the CPU temperature to go over, let's say, 75 degrees. So you can select all these settings and it will target those settings here. So really awesome stuff here. And there's some extras here also. We can, you know, make it to adjust the fan speeds also automatically here, and it can also automatically overclock the graphics card, which I'm not gonna really do. And then you just hit start button here. It'll put a small warning here, you can read it through, and just hit yes, and your PC will start automatically overclocking itself. It'll do a couple of boots, it'll restart your PC, then try overclocking. It will run the stress test. If it hangs or anything, you can't do anything, just restart your PC manually, and when it gets to Windows, the program will open up again by itself and go on from there. So it'll know, okay, I froze there, I'm gonna take the frequency down a bit, or the voltage, or I'm gonna up the voltage a little bit. So it'll try and find the perfect sweet spot, if I must say. So anyway, that's a really cool feature. I really love this thing here, and yeah, if you're not into manual overclocking, then definitely check out that feature. But anyway, that's gonna be it for my overclocking tutorial video. I hope I was good enough for some people, and you learned something new in terms of overclocking your Coffee Lake CPU. And maybe some people actually do get 5 GHz from their CPU, so that'll be a really nice thing to see. So if you have any questions, if you got more than 5 GHz, you know, feel free to write it down in the comments section down below. And yeah, if you like my video, leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube video. I'm gonna do all kinds of motherboards, reviews, unboxing videos and stuff like that. And also I'm gonna play some newest, coolest games. And I'm in the process of building my first ever chassis for my PC. And it should be a pretty interesting PC. I have some really nifty ideas with it. So definitely stick around on my channel here and be ready for some surprises. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be seeing you really soon. So yeah, thanks for watching all my videos. Anyway, see you later. Ciao for now. Cops actually showed up behind my door a few minutes ago. I can't talk anymore. It's almost 2 AM, but my neighbor from downstairs, who's actually from the real actual Russian mob, well, doesn't like me that much, or my voice, or me talking about processors and motherboards for a whole freaking hour in the middle of the night. Yeah, I'm going to jail, and then I'm gonna get stabbed. I'm gonna shut up now. See you later.